Okay, I'm back. I lost track of the number of slides that we have. We only have a couple here, but this is important. Deciding on your capital structure. When we talk about capital structure, is how are you going to be financed? Is it going to be all debt or all equity or somewhere in between? That has, if you look at theory, the capital structure shouldn't have an impact on the value of the company, but in reality, oftentimes it does. And we know that if we have more debt, we can increase our ownership of the firm or maintain our ownership of the firm, but that increases our interest payments and puts the company more at risk. On the other hand, if we finance it by all equity, we may have to reduce our ownership by selling some interest to the company to some partners. So that is an issue that we need to think about. This last point, how the capital structure affects return on equity. Well, it does, of course, because if return on equity is your net income over your equity. So if you have lots of debt, okay, then your equity can be very small, and then you can have a very large return on equity. And so if you're being evaluated by your return on equity, then that's something you should consider. For example, if you're in the real estate business, okay, you can grow much faster and do much more because you can get mortgages for your real estate, debt 70, 80, 90%. Whether if you paid them for cash, you'd have much less debt, okay? But the equity also would be affected. Anyway, we can talk about this a little bit later. It's mostly for corporate finance. Doesn't have a lot to play a role in a startup, but it's something that you should be aware of. This actually is more important for us in terms of startup. Personal money, skin in the game. Other investors, whether they be venture capitalists or angels or informal equity investors, they want to know that you're committed to the business. They want to know that you have actually invested money in the business, more than just sweat equity, but do you have money? Have you put your house up, your cars up? They want to make sure that you're not going to walk away from this business. If it's only their money in the business and it doesn't work out, you walk away, you might have lost time and effort, but they lost money. So they want to make sure that if things go bad, that you feel it as well. So this is this idea of skin in the game, and oftentimes investors want to see that you have that. The 3 F's, family, friends, and fools. Families, friends, and fools. Okay, these are the places where most businesses get their startup money. Family, friend, and fools. And I would suggest it's a place to get money, but it's also a place that is fraught with problems. Because when you start mixing business with pleasure, it's problematic. When things go bad and you can't pay back your mother, uncle, father, sister who believed in you. Okay. And also when it comes down to it, they really don't understand what's going on in the business in most cases. They're doing it because they love you. Okay. From personal experience, we're in a situation where we had a friend invest in one of our businesses. Okay. 6 months or so down the road, she just wanted the money back. We weren't running a bank, so the money wasn't just sitting there. The money was in the business. But, yeah, she wanted it back. Okay, how do we go about doing that? It's problematic. So it's much better to have professional investors in the business or people who are working in the business with you. So what we talked about in these 3 intro lectures were methods of financing equity debt, methods of debt financing, methods of equity financing. We talked a little bit about capital structure, and we also talked about how firms issue securities. So you should have a pretty good understanding, at least the terms. When you hear these terms again, they should be not unfamiliar to you. And I'll catch up with you at the next lecture.